So, a little while back on one of my live streams, I talked about this crossover I had in mind, and I figured I'd go a little more in detail with it, and that is a crossover between Injustice and My Hero Academia. So yeah, I kind of figured, yeah, this would be kind of cool, having the Injustice universe and My Hero Academia meet up. I know a lot of people have, like, X-Men and all that, but I was like, no one really thinks about, a lot of having DC in there, although it's very clear there's some DC inspiration in there. I mean, comic books in general, that's true, but I was like, I know a lot of people cross them over with comics, but let's have if we do a more darker take, if we did the more darker take with that, and that led me to think of a crossover between My Hero Academia and the Injustice universe. Which, yeah, the Injustice universe has had its fair share of crossovers. I mean, look at the guest characters, and plus, we've got one where He-Man and the Masters of the Universe are crossing over with them, which is a sequel to the crossover with He-Man and Thundercats. So, yeah. Anyway, so, what was I going to say? So this crossover pretty much is set. If you're wondering where in Injustice timeline this would be in a time period when the regime is still going on. The regime is still growing. We're still in that 5-year reign of Superman's regime taking over the planet. So anyway, in here we have basically the first time Batman's in this little story. So what if Batman tried to find another way to stop Superman, and with a little help from Zatanna and the other Mystics, they're pretty much like, yeah, we need to find someone who can actually fight Superman. And at this point, they're like, well, how about we get another Superman to fight him? And Batman at this point's like, no, his friendship with Clark is like, yeah, it's ruined, and he doesn't really trust the idea of another Superman coming in to fight him. So he's like, no, but we do need someone as powerful as Superman. So we can probably look through the multiverse and see someone in there who's strong enough to fight him. And lo and behold, they find All Might. However, there's a bit of a problem. It turns out that the regime was having spy bots set in, and the regime broke it up, and what happened next is essentially Superman, high off his whole regime thing works, decides, what if we spread to the multiverse and led this world into our regime. That way we can better protect 2 worlds, instead of 1. So Superman and his regime invade the My Hero Academia universe. And at this point, yeah, the My Hero the characters of Class 1A and their teachers are like, what the shit? Or like, what the shit is going on? First off, we're dealing with another universe, and these guys claim to be superheroes? No, that's not happening on our watch. So Superman and All Might do fight, and I did think of it, because yes, Superman and All Might would probably be matched, but the problem is that All Might's strength is finite. One for All can only take him so far, whereas Superman doesn't have a time constraint of using his power. He can, he can still keep going. So while All Might would put up a fight against Superman just waits him out and manages to take down All Might when he uses too much of his strength, and is like, yeah, I beat All Might, I beat the greatest superhero you got, so what the fuck you gonna do now? And Superman calls upon the other heroes of this world to be like, hey, serve my regime and you can better protect your world from these villains, and you won't get in my way. So some of the heroes actually do join them. Bakugo and Todoroki are among some of the characters that do go over to join the regime, and some of the other older heroes do join. What's also, also Batman's Resistance also runs over to that universe to help out, and I had it that a lot of the characters of the My Hero Academia universe see Batman and Green Arrow and Harley all in action, and they're like, what? You guys don't have quirks? That's not right. You gotta have a quirk to have a they're like amazed by the fact that, some superheroes in their universe actually don't have superpowers and yet can be completely badass. In fact, I had it that Batman and Aizawa face off, and Aizawa's using his quirk, to render powers, inert, without his powers, and to render someone without powers, and Batman's like, oh yeah, that doesn't work on me. And Aizawa's like, that can't be right. No, that's not possible. And Deku's even like, wow, that's amazing. Maybe I should have better. I didn't know you could be a hero without having a quirk. So there is like that kind of cool moment where he looks at like Green Arrow and some of the other non-powered DC characters, but at the same time he's like, Jesus Christ, you're telling me this Superman guy and Wonder Woman and all them used to be heroes? I don't believe that. A hero shouldn't, be a fascist. There's a fine line between a superhero and a fascist, and right now Superman's not that. So with All Might in prison and some of the other big-name heroes who didn't go along with the regime imprisoned, Batman and the other characters from Class 1A are now part of this amalgam resistance to get the regime out of this universe, because Batman's like, yeah, I kind of put this on you guys. This one's on me. I accidentally, I thought I could bring All Might to our universe, have him fight Superman, defeat him, and things would go back to the way they were. So, yeah, this one's on me. This one is seriously on me. So that's the big thing here, is that Superman, that Batman is blaming himself for causing this invasion of this world, which for the most part didn't have anything or had no knowledge of the problems of his universe. So now he's dragged another world to fall victim to this. But yeah, and some of the other characters who joined over with the regime, like Bakugo and Todoroki, and some of the other characters are like, what, they see how they, handle some of the villains. Like, yeah, they straight up execute some of the villains out there. But on the other hand, some of them are like, this isn't what I had in mind, Yeah, there needs to be tougher laws against villains, but this is kind of a step too far. This is a little too much. So yeah. But on the most part, yeah, a lot of the characters are just in awe of the regime's just kind of ruthlessness, as well as just their, some of the abilities they have. Like, they're just in awe of Superman, a man who took down their greatest superhero, All Might, with after a bloody long fight. It wasn't like, hey, I beat you in under 5 minutes. It was, the way I kind of thought of this fight would be, these two would just wreck shit, because this isn't this would not be Superman holding back. This is Injustice Superman. And All Might would be giving it his all throughout the, pretty much his all, no pun intended, throughout this matchup. So, yeah, but again, the one for all quirk doesn't exactly, it does have a limit to him. So Superman would just kind of have to wait it out or push All Might to his limits to get him to stop. So that's the big thing right there. But yeah, that was kind of the idea I had, is that, Deku especially his world and views on superheroes is rocked after seeing just kind of the madness of this version of the DC universe, after Batman tells everyone about the world he comes from. Is like, so he's like, it's trippy to him, and so he's like, wait, so the Superman guy used to be a really cool dude, but then one of your villains screwed him up, and then he became a villain along with everyone else? What the hell? So, yeah. He's pretty, Deku's whole view on superheroes, and yeah, he does kind of share a lot with Shazam. He and Billy have like a interesting discussion about that. Like, I had in mind that he and Billy have this discussion because, yeah, Billy is a lot like Deku in the sense that, yeah, he does have that, live out that superhero fantasy. So yeah, Billy and Midoriya do have that conversation. Billy and Izuku have that conversation of, you realize this is wrong. You realize that this is a really bad thing. Hell, you're working with your arch nemesis in here. What's wrong with you? You're going along with open, blatant-faced murder, but on the other hand, Shazam, Billy's like, yeah, but on the other hand, it's Superman. He knows what's right, and he's right. A lot of these villains do get away with stuff. So they do have that kind of philosophical conversation of two superheroes who are now living out the superhero fantasy they always wanted, except one went the totally darker route. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much I also had like a few other fights in mind, like Mount Lady fighting Wonder Woman, which, yeah, Wonder Woman's like, I fight a woman like you all the time, so this is nothing. Sue tries to fight Green Lantern. That doesn't, or should I say Hal, because he would have the yellow ring by now. Ida and Flash have a race. Like, that was another fight I had in mind, Ida versus Flash. So yeah, there are a lot of fights in here that I really wanted to do, but you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this video? Do you guys like it? Did you guys like this idea? Do you guys hate it? And what characters could you see a part of Superman's regime in the My Hero Academia universe? And who could you see siding with Batman? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, hope y'all enjoyed this, and I'm out.